my sister, my wife, and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you. I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean, no longer a fan. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife, and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you.
I do this for the kids who sit a bit outside the mix, who maybe cope through humor just to fit in for a bit, who never let the world know when depression's setting in. To all of those who know you, that impression don't exist, and it ain't counterfeit, it's just a way to counter it. I'm living things I dreamed about, I still encounter it. It ain't something that a cigarette or alcohol can fix, but all because of it I flipped it quick, went on to write some hits. This a success off another breath. This the first step in searching to be nothing less than be the best in what you do, to prove their strength in being you. Learn so much in chasing dreams that I never would in school. Depends on where your passion lie, just know passion never lie. Life presents distractions, but your actions have to fortify the things that you believe in. Have to scream it like a battle cry, and leave the ones who didn't looking stupid while they're asking why. Couldn't lie, I really do this for the ones I love, those who treat the music as a vice and lyrics like a drug. Those who need advice on how to lift their spirit high enough to break out of the box they make of lives they know aren't good enough. Just because it's how it is don't mean it's how it has to be. This is what the uninspired testifiers fail to see. Jealousy results from being that which others fail to be, and if it means you're not with me, that honestly sounds fair to me.
I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean, no longer a fan. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife, and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you.
Do this for my mother, she'll be working for the summer. Do this for my father, cause these days I often wonder what my life would have been like if I was not adopted. To grow up in a home where I was treated like a problem. I don't know, it's just a guess. Your guess probably good as mine. Lucky that I grew up in a home that wanted me to shine. Lucky that I grew up around some mountains we were taught to climb. Without that inspiration, I don't think that this would be my life. Do this for my friends who've scattered all across the country now. I'm out in Sweden walking back through life so I can write it down. Make a living off the sound, so crazy to say out loud. I'm the biggest thing since Travis Rice to come up out the town. Sorry, gotta stunt a little. Used to have my dreams belittled, but it's all a part of it. I know people's minds are fickle, lines between reality and dreams I blur like faded nights. Come up been so good for me, I wish that I could make it twice.
I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean, no longer a fan. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife, and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you.
Oh yeah, y'all. Good to see y'all. TGIF, thank God it's Friday. Shout out to my pops. I do this for you. Shout out to everybody who's here tonight. I know you guys could be anywhere else, but you choose to spend your time with us. I appreciate it. Couldn't do it without you guys, so from the deep down bottom of my heart, thank you very much. You guys make my life possible. You guys do it, and I appreciate it. So, here we are. It's Friday. Last night was 2 back-to-back preseason games. And before I jump into all that, I want to talk about the format of the show. You guys already know it. You drive the show. You put your questions in chat. Shout out to those of you who get here early. I will talk about what's trending every single day. Then I'll get to the chat. Please only ask your question once. I will get to it. I never miss them. You don't have to repeat it. Shout out to you guys. Let's go. So what's trending? Well, in the world of sports, I want to talk to you guys about media manipulation. You see, there are writers in this world. They write their articles, they write their stories, and then there's something called a copy editor. I used to be a journalist. I used to be a sports writer. I used to work for a newspaper many years ago, about 20 years ago. And when you write your story, you send it to the editor. The editor cleans it up, copy editor, and then it gets posted. And when they post it, one of those more experienced copy editors writes the headline. And this is the original clickbait. The headline was the original clickbait. And if you remember newspapers, they used to have a fold, right? They used to be folded in half in those vending machines. And what you wanted people to do was walk by on the street and read the front page of the paper, but read the headline of the next story to make people want to flip it. On the flip, you want to make them flip the paper. And you couldn't read it if you're walking by. You'd say, oh my God, I got to buy that paper. Now, never mind, you'd put a quarter in the machine, open the damn window, the door, and grab a whole stack of them and rip them off. I know you guys did that. But the point is that was the original clickbait. It was headlines. And we still do that today. And here's clickbait 101 for you guys. The Commanders have been in the news recently. Ron Rivera threw his coach under the bus, right, EB? Eric sleeping with the enemy, saying, hey, he's a hard coach. The players don't like him. They have concern about how tough he is, all this shit. He's not as experienced as Jack Del Rio. Did I say Jack Del Rio? Yeah, Jack Del Rio, right? Yeah, former linebacker, USC great, Jaguar. And I got real beef with that. I made videos on it. But when the players talk about it and say something positive, look what this headline says. This headline says, Commander's star on Eric Bieniemy. It's like a college environment. And the first thing you would think is, well, these are professional athletes. Why are you treating them like college players? You can't motivate them that way. You know, the difference in motivating a college player and a professional player is night and day. And Urban Meyer learned this. Nick Saban learned this. This is why he stays in college and went back after being with the Dolphins. Most NFL coaches know this, but the college coaches get there and they learn this. They learn they don't have leverage. You can't threaten these professionals with anything. When they show up and they're not in shape, you can't say anything about it. They're professionals. You're either in shape or you're not. What's the punishment going to be? You're going to threaten them and yell at them? You don't run the whole asylum. You're just the coach. And once you learn that, you're a lot better off. So, unfortunately for Eric Bieniemy, he's out here coaching these young men, and he's doing it the way he does it, and the players aren't receptive to it. But this article, Curtis Samuel actually says he's a tough coach, but nothing I'm not used to. It's like a college environment. When you've got a coach like that that's being tough and hard on you, he wants what's best out of you. He's not doing it for the ego purpose or his own benefit. He wants the best out of you. And I feel like doing that kind of stuff brings the best out of players. Quote, unquote, I love it. So why wouldn't the headline be Commander's star player loves Eric Bieniemy's approach to coaching? Why wouldn't you just say that? Isn't that a much better quote, more positive in nature? I'd still click on it. And that's why this Kevin Harris and the website The Comeback, that's why I don't work for these people, man. I'm better than them. You guys got to understand this. Everyone who does this for a profession, I'm better than all of them. I'm going to be better than them. I'm going to be bigger than them. They just don't know about me yet. But because I chose this profession at 40 years old, I'm taking over the world. Watch me. These guys sitting here writing articles. There are things to say in here and quote in here to get more people to read this article. If you told me a star player with the Washington Redskins, or Commanders, is rocking with EB and says, I love the way he coaches, you know why he loves the way he coaches? Because every player on that team was in college. There's not a player on the Washington Commanders who didn't play in college. So they know what it's like to play for a coach with a college thought process. But EB's just holding you accountable, just trying to make you better. And they don't make that the headline. You got to read and dig in here to find, I love it. 3 words, I love it. Outrageous. You bury that in the story and tell me, oh, it's like a college environment. What does that mean? It's dorm rooms? He's yelling at you like you're a child? He's giving you punishment that you don't think you deserve? What does it's a college environment mean? Kevin Harris and The Comeback? Scrubs. Shout out to the Lions. Here's another headline. Here's another manipulation headline. The Lions signed wide receiver Khalif Raymond to historic NFL contract extension. It's not a historic extension. All it is Ian Rappaport said Raymond will have a 2-year extension, making him one of the highest paid punt returners in the NFL. What? He's just a receiver, bro. He's not one of the highest paid wide receivers. He's just a receiver. Come on. The stuff they're writing just to get people to click on things, the clickbait is outrageous. Heavy, shame on you. Former Broncos offensive coordinator opens up about his role with Deion Sanders and Colorado football staff. If you didn't hear, Schumer here used to work as the offensive coordinator for the Broncos, Shermer, and Shermer is Pat Shermer. He's an offensive analyst for the Broncos. I'm sorry, for the Buffaloes. Got to get that right. And as an analyst, he says his role is quite unique. He doesn't talk to the players one-on-one. He does everything behind the scenes. He goes to team meetings. He goes to position coach meetings. But if he sees anything wrong at practice, he can't speak up and say anything. It's not his place. Shout out to the coaches for knowing their role and operating within the parameters of their role, right? Don't ever scope creep. I talk to my leaders about this in the Army a lot. I give you parameters, left and right parameters. You need to support the command and the way we do things. And if you ever try to scope creep or get out of your sector of fire, we got a problem. So shout out to Shermer for explaining that. But he does not coach the players individually. If he has any tips or anything he wants to bring up, he's got to go through a position coach to get it to the players. It's just an order of operations out here. I love it. He also said very clearly, I like the way Coach Prime is communicating with the players. Well, of course you're going to say something positive about the head coach. You work for the man. He hired you. But I just appreciate some of the thoughts and minds on the staff. I believe in Colorado's coaching staff. Some of them follow me on TikTok. And it's nice to see these men working hard, achieving their goals and dreams. And maybe one day they'll be on another staff somewhere, and it will have all started from this tree that we planted and grew in Boulder, Colorado. That'd be pretty damn cool. So shout out to them. Hey, ex-Raider, ex-current first-round bust, Damon Arnett. You guys know the deal. He just got... He just took a plea deal. He pulled a gun out on a valet driver, and he took a plea deal. Made sure he didn't get any jail time. And now that he's out, now that he's free, he's no longer in Shawshank. Arnett says he's blessed enough to get another chance in the NFL. I'm going to kill that. I've learned a lot. I'm remorseful about everything. I appreciate and respect another opportunity. I'm a better man than I was. Okay, listen to me. Damon Arnett, I don't believe you. Damon Arnett, I don't believe you. I never have. I never will. He is a bona fide wannabe thug. He was told by the judge, you can't own any guns. No guns of any sort. He's a problem. He's now spreading his own rumor that the Cowboys are interested in signing him. He spread this rumor to the internet by his agent probably, he and his agent. And they're out there telling people the Cowboys want to sign us. Well, a source from the Cowboys said, nah, not true. This man is exaggerating early conversations he's been having as he moves past the court case. But I want to ask the Cowboys something. What's there to exaggerate? Did you talk to the man or not? Did you offer him a job or not? Maybe you didn't give him a contract offer. Maybe you told him, hey, if we get any injuries, we'd be interested in you. But why? If you're the Cowboys, the one guy you can't sign in free agency is Damon Arnett. You can't do it, man. This is not he does not make any team in the NFL better. This man does not deserve a chance to be in the NFL. Somebody else deserves that roster spot. Don't sign that extra DB. Sign that extra wide receiver. Shout out to Jalen Moreno-Cropper. And I wish people understood that when I say things like this about players, when I tell the NFL GMs and the public, and I'm like, hey, don't sign this guy. He's a piece of shit. Don't sign this guy. He's substandard. When I say this stuff, I always get people in the comments going, oh, this guy's racist. Oh, you're racist. No, bro. I'm saying give a different black man that damn job. Give a different athlete that opportunity. I'm not racist against black players. I'm racist against substandard people. I shouldn't say racist. I am, what's the word? I discriminate upon substandard people regardless of their race. I made a video last night about Johnny Manziel. Dude says, man, you're so much better when you're not hating on people. Bruh, you don't like what I have to say when I speak negatively about people, then that's fine. It doesn't change the fact that I'm going to keep telling the truth about people. And Johnny Manziel, substandard. I want to know why they brush it under the rug that he was physically abusive to women. They only mention it once. They don't interview any of his victims. Does drugs? He wants you to believe he's sober, but the entire thing, he's shotgunning beers at the end. Everybody goes, well, alcohol's legal. Yeah. Have you ever met somebody with an addiction problem? The one thing you don't ever want to do is start with alcohol. Trust me. Been there. Seen it happen. Just right there. Oh, I don't smoke no more. I'm good. Start drinking. Damn, I got to have this when I'm drinking. Okay. I don't believe Johnny Manziel's any better than he ever was. I still think he's a piece of crap person. I believe he's a substandard person. Spoiled, entitled. I don't change my mind after watching that documentary. And I feel the same way about Damon Arnett. I don't believe this guy has learned any lesson. I think he will say all the right things to try to get an easy paycheck and a job that he does not deserve. There are players in camp right now that deserve that job over him. There are young men who have never done a crime, have never been arrested, and might be a step slower. Might not have the greatest athleticism or the raw, innate ability that this guy has, but I'll tell you what, they're not going to get arrested. They're not going to drag your brand through the mud. Let this guy go. He can join society and start paying taxes like the rest of us. Talk about letting people go. 2 fighters missed their way in. One of them was right here. Chuck Wee and who was the other guy? A.J. Dobson. No. Josh Freem. My bad, A.J. You're good. Josh Freem. Both 185-pound guys. They showed up and weighed in at 189.5. Like, they intentionally missed weight. And you guys got to know this about the UFC. When you lose your weight, when you miss weight, you're going to lose 10 to 20% of your purse, depending on how much you miss weight by. But please understand, they don't care because they want to win. Because when you win in the UFC, the winner gets twice the amount of money as the loser. The contracts are typically equivalent. So if you lose the fight, one of you gets 45, the other guy gets 90. Let's say like that, right? A lot of fights in the early prelims are 12-24, maybe 30-60. These guys are probably closer to 30-60, especially on a fight night. So 30-60, you don't care that you're losing $6,000, 20% of your purse because you missed weight at it, right? You don't care. You got to make sure you get that $60,000 as opposed to the $30,000. So they're just showing up and intentionally missing weight. Let me tell you guys something. If I have one guy miss weight at 185 and I have another guy miss weight at 185 on the same card, those 2 overweight dudes are fighting each other at a catch weight. Them 2 overweight dudes are fighting each other. I don't care. You didn't earn the right to fight the other guy who has to go into the ring 5 pounds lighter than you and more fatigued because you didn't bother cutting the weight. They just show up. They know they're overweight. You know how much weight you can lose in a day, guys? Realistically, water weight and working out and all that, you can realistically cut 12 pounds. Now, when you're at the bottom near your actual weight limit or your weight, I want to say your bottom of your weight, your target weight, it's hard to lose those last 2 pounds. I was an MMA fighter for a long time. I've been a wrestler my whole life. I know all about weight cutting. And I want to tell you guys, it's hard to cut those last 2 pounds. So when you're 4 or 5 pounds away and you miss weight in the UFC, if you miss the weight, they give you 1 more hour. If you had the weight to lose, you'd go out there and go run and you could cut 4 pounds of water weight. But they don't even have that. They don't have the water weight. They'll miss it by 4 pounds, come back in an hour, and now this is your last chance to win, and they'll miss it by 4.5 pounds because they're out there hydrating, because they don't give a shit. They're not going to work hard. They're not going to go sit in the sauna and finish it off. They're not doing it. And then they'll tell you, well, I couldn't hit the weights because I got injured 2 weeks ago and I couldn't run and do cardio. In camp, we got injured. We couldn't do this. Like, no, bro, I don't hear none of your excuses. It's professionalism and respect, not just respect for the sport, the brand, respect for your opponent, the person who actually had to go out there and grind and cut the weight themselves to be equivalent to you. I can't stand it, man. And the guys who don't make weight, they usually win the fights because they're heavy. Shout out to the Saints. The Saints released Kiki Kuti. Now, Kiki Kuti is a guy I missed on. I think he's a former 4th-round draft pick. Kiki Kuti out of Texas Tech. He's a guy I really liked coming out of college. And I always thought he was going to be great, and he never amounted to anything. He never got it done. And unfortunately, this offseason, he got signed to the Saints, and the Saints were trying to pick him up as a punt returner, kick returner guy. And they already got A.T. Perry in the draft. They got a couple other guys on the roster. But they signed Kiki Kuti and another draft bust in Lynn Bowden Jr., the gadget player out of Kentucky. And Lynn Bowden Jr. was a 3rd-round pick, and that was like in 2018. I think Kuti was 2017. I'm just spitballing here. But either way, Lynn Bowden Jr. might not make the team either, but he's still on the team. So releasing Kuti hurts. Maybe he gets a chance. Maybe we'll see him in the XFL. I don't know. But he used to be a great wide receiver, and it's all gone, brother. It's all gone. Breaking news. Raiders sign a running back amid standoff with Josh Jacobs. Look, Josh Jacobs planning to hold out, so they go and sign Damian Williams. Not a good move. He's not a great running back. He doesn't get you there. But they just said, all right, we're prepared for this guy to sit out. We need more depth in the running back room, and they went and got it. So congrats to them. Word on the street is Pac-12, back in 2022, last year, they turned down a deal for $30 million per school. Now, that ruined their conference. Let me tell you guys this. A couple things. The Pac-12 had a vote to expand in 2012, and they turned down 2 teams to join. And the teams that voted no on the expansion, USC and UCLA, they were already leaving the conference, and they ruined it for them because that expansion might have saved them, but they turned them down. So that's number one. Then when it comes to the TV deal, you get offered $30 million, you turn it down because you think you're going to get more, and you end up with an Apple deal a year later for $21 million, and that's why everybody left and just jumped ship and said, hell no. But you know why they turned down the $30 million? Because when the TV network gives you a $30 million offer, you've got to take it. Now everybody goes, no, you don't. No, you don't. Well, listen. No, you got to do a counter offer, right? What was the Pac-12's counter offer? Their counter offer was $50 million. Bro, I understand putting in bids is something. But if they tell you we'll sell it to you for this much and you go, give me $50 million per team, ESPN, that's when ESPN went nuclear. And they said it. They put it out there for the world. I remember the headlines. They were like, we're not interested. We're out. They didn't even counter back offer. ESPN did not go, hey, well, look, we'll give you 40. No. You stepped out of line, bro. You said something crazy. You went to what? 50? Nah. And the reason they went to 50 is because USC, UCLA were already going to get 50 from the Big Ten. And all those teams thought they had an equivalent brand. You do not do that. You just don't do that. And let me give you an example. The Big 12 signed their TV deal with ESPN the same year and happily signed. And you know what they said? The Big 12 said, hey, we'll counter. And I'm assuming the Big 12 got an offer of something like $28 million. Something low. Well, the Big 12 was only getting $17 million before this TV offer, and they were getting ready to go down to like $7 or $8 million. As soon as they lost Texas and Oklahoma, the conference lost 50% of its value, of its evaluation. So they were going to be in hurt, and they went out and did a $31.6 million offer, counter offer. So whatever ESPN offered them, high 20s, Big 12 looked around and said, can we get 31? They threw a counter offer of 31. ESPN said, let's go, and signed them. And then they said, can we get that prorated for all our future teams? ESPN said, sure. It's not $50 million. We'll take that 31. Think about it. And now the Big 12's healthy because they took that 31. And the Pac-12, some of those teams are healthier than ever. Let me tell you, every team that went to the Big Ten is happy as shit. And the teams who didn't get a TV deal done, well, they're on life alert. And they don't want to fall, but they're on life alert. It's pretty nuts. Don't ever counteroffer with something absurd like that. Oklahoma announces their schedule, 2024. They fitting right in with the SEC, y'all. Who are they playing? Houston, Maine, Temple, and Tulane. What a joke. Oh, and 8 conference games. 8 conference games. No Georgia. Houston, Maine, Temple, Tulane. Ain't that about it? Ain't that some... Come on now. Absolute horse shit. Welcome to the SEC. Welcome to the SEC. Maine? In track news, this is a big deal to me. I don't know how many of you guys care about track, but Sydney McLaughlin's not running in the World Championships. This is the world record holder in the 400 hurdles, the world champion and Olympic champion in the 400 hurdles, and she was slated to go and break the world record in the 400 meters. She was our national champion in the 400 meters just a month ago. She's pulling out of both. She's pulling out of everything. She's not doing it. She's going to say she says she's got to recover from an injury and get ready for next year for the Olympics 2016. She'd rather win the Olympics than this. Look, man, I don't buy it, man. I think she's dodging a drug test. I think she got new coaches. If you guys didn't know, she moved over to the Jackie Joyner-Kersee side of the house. She's, I don't like it. I'm like, a little shady to be pulling out. You're the number one runner in the world, and you're pulling out of the World Championships. You're our only hope for a real gold medal, a lock for a gold medal in the 400. But she heard Shanae Miller-Weibo's coming back. She heard some other people, Paulino out of Dominican Republic. Like, there's people out there that can run, bro. She don't want that juice. I'm disappointed in her. But that's good news for a couple people. Look down here. Good news for Lena Irby. Lena Irby Jackson, she got married. But Lena Irby used to run at Georgia. Good runner. She finished 4th at the U.S. Nationals. Now she's on the team because McLaughlin's pulling out. So you're an alternate, you're in. Now she was already on the relay, in the relay pool, but it's just nice that she'll be in the open 400. This is a young girl who has always had aspirations to be a pro. She went pro early, and, you know, I'm pulling for her. So shout out to Lena Irby. She also runs a 200, and that means that, you know, Quinera Hayes might make the pool in the co-ed pool. Rosie's going to be running. I mean, it's just good stuff. I like the younger kids getting a shot, but Sydney McLaughlin being our best athlete by a mile and pulling out, that sucks. So I saw this article, and it said TikTok-savvy college athletes can make up to $25,000 a post. I just want to let you guys know that Hadriana Lowenkron, or whatever her name is, this girl who wrote this article for Bloomberg, yeah, she don't know what she's talking about at all. You can make $25,000 per post. With advertisements and maybe another company paying you for your post, but not from TikTok. It's not how it works. I'm telling you, $25,000 on a post. You know how many views you would need on that post? I don't think she's informed on it at all. 1 million views pays you about $1,000. 1 million views, and that's just on average. So if you get 25 million views per post, then yeah, you're going to get 25,000. Who's getting 25 million views per post? What athlete? Are you Kendall Jenner? What are they talking about? Get rid of this shit. Hey, shout out to Tyrese, bro. It's not sports. I just want to say he's suing Home Depot for $1 million. Tyrese, go make another movie, dude. Don't do this. He's pulling a Karen. He says he was racially discriminated upon at a Home Depot with 2 of his Mexican workers, Manuel and Eric. Were there with him, and they had their civil rights violated. Now, if it's on camera, I want to see the video. But I don't know how you sue for $1 million. $1 million. Like, what did they do, bro? What did they do? Tripping. $1 million? This is pretty crazy. You guys know about mountain climbers? Mountain climbers, they have these helpers. Think of them like golf and the caddies. There's these helpers. They're called Sherpas. And Sherpas go with the mountain climbers, and they just innately have bigger lungs. They're stronger. There's all kinds of stuff. They're from, like, the Himalayas. They help climb all these big mountains. There's a bunch of mountaintops you got to climb, 14 of them that are over 8,000 meters, 26,000 feet or more, and they're all over the world. And this lady and one of her Sherpas, this dude, Tenjin Sherpa, known as Llama. They went and climbed all the records, and they broke the record. But word got out when they were climbing K2, the last peak, they went past the dude. And this dude, where is it at? It's called the Mountain Porter, okay? Mountain Porter, Mohammed Hassan. Guys, porters aren't Sherpas. They're close. But porters are the guys that carry all the supplies up the mountain. Help you get all your lines hooked up. Let you know when the weather's good or bad. They carry all the oxygen tanks and everything else to the camps. They're like mules. They're like the donkeys. And this dude was dangling from some ropes. But because they wanted to break the world record, they didn't stop to help him. They just blew right past him. They let him hang from the ropes, and them and their whole team just kept pushing to the summit because they needed to break the world record. And they let that man die. I think it's distasteful. Speaking of dying, how about my segue? Moment of silence before I get to the chat. Shout out to Sean Dawkins. Passed away at 52. It's way too young, guys. I remember watching this man play in the 90s. Shout out to him. NFL players are dying at a young age. Got to be CTE. I don't want to hear about anything else. If it was suicide, sickness, all this other stuff, I think it's all related to CTE. It's unfortunate. So, shout out to Sean Dawkins, RIP, bro. Rest in paradise. All right, time to get to the chat. TGIF, it's Friday. Thanks for being here, y'all. See what we got. Oh, I did pin a video. I did pin a comment because Connor wrote, just want to say you're my favorite creator on social media. Your dedication to your craft is impeccable. Thank you very much, Connor. I have a lot of supporters that keep me going, but the one thing that cannot be fabricated is desire, effort, dedication to this craft, and I take real serious. I work really hard from the moment I get up in the morning till the time I go to bed. It never stops. I'm living my dream, and you guys make it possible. Thank you so much. AJ Interview says, when evaluating a new head coach, example Ryan Walters or Jeff Brom, how long of a leash would you give them to build their team up? So I'm not in charge of these universities. When I evaluate coaches, the one thing I look for is what is the level of expectation at their university. So are you at a blue blood or are you at a university that's never won a lot? I'll give you an example. Biff Poggi is at Charlotte right now, and Biff just got there. He's never been a college coach. Charlotte's never been good. How much time does he have? Well, I would give him all the time in the world, right? Then when you go to major universities, you start wondering, well, how much time do they have? The old school way of thinking was you need at least 3 recruiting classes to cycle out all the recruits and you'll get better. But with the transfer portal, you can cycle out the entire roster immediately. There's also an NCAA rule that lets you just get rid of dudes. They say you can't cut them for athletic reasons, but they just let you do scholarships in annual cycles so you don't have to do a non-renewal. So in the spring, in your exit meetings, you just tell the player, hey, we're not going to renew your scholarship. You're no longer in our plans. You're not in a scholarship. Then the player has 2 options. They can stay at the school and finish their degree without playing football, or they can hit the transfer portal, continue to play football somewhere else, and get their education. Most players jump in the transfer portal and go find another school. But you're more than welcome to stay at the school and finish out your next academic semester if you're near graduation. That's an NCAA rule. But nowhere in there are you being cut for athletic reasons. The coach just chooses not to renew your scholarship. That's the way it works. It's a play on words. You are essentially cut, but they don't say that. They just say, hey, we're going to be moving in this direction without you. So knowing that you can turn over rosters this quickly now, utilizing NCAA rules, your timetable to flip your success on the field probably shortens. It's not nearly as, wide as it used to be. You don't need to develop a bunch of players. I think head coaches and their success coincides and correlates with their 5-star quarterbacks. You got to get a 5-star quarterback. You got to get a starting quarterback. Just like GMs and head coaches, when they draft a quarterback in the first round, same concept. You're only as good as your quarterback in college football. So go get a good one, either in the transfer portal or in recruiting. So as you look at teams and you wonder, well, when are they going to be good? Like, when is the example would be like Brett Venables at Oklahoma. You want to evaluate him and say, is it a success? Is he struggling? What is he doing? But now he buys himself time because he signed Jackson Arnold, and you got to give him time to get Jackson Arnold into games and developed and become a starting quarterback for his team. You can't judge him on how he does the first year or this year because he's using an incumbent quarterback, somebody he inherited, things of that nature. So people need to just be careful when they're trying to evaluate success. And what does that look like? What does success look like? This is what I said to one of my employers. I was in a job interview, and he said to me, "Do you have any questions for us?" And I just was like, "Yeah, I got 3 questions." First thing I asked him was, "What are your expectations of me within the first 90 days? Like after 90 days, what are you expecting of me as an employee? Capabilities-wise, whatever it is. Like I need to know now. What is your expectations? Am I supposed to know the intricacies of your network? Am I supposed to know how you guys operate, your day-to-day operations? Like let me know how much of this company do I need to grasp within the first 90 days?" And he said, "Wow, that's an amazing question." I said, "Thank you." He goes, "You got any more?" I said, "Yeah, I got another one. How do you evaluate success? Is it via evaluations? Do you assess productivity? Do you look at what end state? What metrics do you use to evaluate success?" And then lastly, I asked him, how do you reward success? What happens with the job? Like how am I going to do it? If I do a great job, how do you guys compensate people for that? I'm not asking for money. I'm not asking for raises. I'm not asking for any of that stuff. I'm just asking how you operate in this realm. The things I'm concerned with are perceptions, expectations, and then how we operate. So when you look at head coaches, I want you to think of the same thing, right? Certain universities might reward success differently. Some universities might say, "Hey, look, we just went to our first bowl game in 7 years. We have never been to a bowl game this decade, and now we went to one." And they might think that warrants a contract extension. Whereas there's teams like Texas who fired Tom Herman, even though he was a good coach. Go look at Texas results before they fired Tom Herman. It's insane. And they still fired him and took Sark instead. Why? You got to ask yourself, why? So there's new head coaches all over this country. Some are better than others. There are jobs out there with low expectations and high rewards. Why do you think Hugh Freeze went to Liberty? There's no pressure there. They're willing to give him a second chance. It's important you take those easy jobs and do your best with them. The hard job is really hard to keep, though, right? That's how it goes. So I give them time to build up their teams, implement their offense, implement their defense, find their quarterbacks. But the minute they start losing and recruiting in the local city or the local state, the minute they start having players arrested, low APR, low academic progress rate, low graduation, I'm getting rid of the guy because he's missing the point. Or they're cheating. NCAA violations. Shout out to Pruitt. If you could pick one defensive player from all of history to have on your team, who would it be? Super Colt. The one defensive player all throughout history that I would put on my team, Deacon Jones. Deacon Jones, no one knows how many sacks he had because when he played football, he coined the phrase sack. Sacks didn't exist when he played, and not all his games are recorded. But Deacon Jones is on my Mount Rushmore. On defense, Deacon Jones, Lawrence Taylor, those two come to mind immediately as these vicious men that I would want on my team. There you go. Do you see Jam Griffin having a year like Zach Evans while splitting carries? Not necessarily Landon Ballard. I don't think Jam is as good as Zach Evans. Zach Evans is very, very good. Much more fluid and faster athlete. I see Jam Griffin having a good season, though. I think he's a great thunder and lightning. I think he's great. I think he moves the chains and he can pack a punch. Very durable. I love watching Jam Griffin play. I watched him play in high school here in Georgia. Yeah, I'm cool with Jam Griffin. I hope he has a great year at Ole Miss. Did you see the beef going on between Kari and TT versus Gabby and her coach not wanting them on the relay? So Chaz Crawford, yeah, I saw the beef. And if you guys don't know, they're talking about track athletes, female track athletes. And I'm really team Gabby. Like, I really am. Gabby Thomas, Harvard graduate, classy girl, runs hard, national champ in the 200, very respectful, very respected. I love everything about Gabby Thomas. I think she's everything that's right with sports. She's Allison Felix 2.0. And in the inverse, you have Sha'Carri Richardson, and T.T. Terry, who are the legitimate opposite. Perceived to be hood rats. Perceived to be marijuana smoking hood rats. Like, I'm being real. They just a little too street, a little too hood for representation of the United States of America. They're just not it. They're not cut from the same cloth as Gabby. Gabby's more regal, more respectful, elegant. And those other two are just barking off and going off. Now, I don't think Gabby's saying they can't be on the relay. I think Gabby is saying TT doesn't deserve to be on the relay. And TT gets run down on the anchor leg a lot. TT, no matter, we got to have a huge lead every single time we give it to TT. That's real. So I don't think she's one of the top 100 runners. And listen to who I say should be on the relay and not on the relay. It's Jenna Prandini. Once again, am I racist? No, I just have a certain level of prestige when it comes to representing the United States of America, projecting out to other cultures. Right? I don't think the platform should have these little girls who want to scrap at practice. How dare you want to fight with a champion, a United States of America champion? Like, why you want to scrap with her? Why is your beef with her? So I got to do, and it doesn't help that Dennis Mitchell's your coach. Dennis Mitchell was one of the same. He was just a very abrasive, argumentative person. That's real. So I'm sure we'll get that baton around the track. Sarcasm for real. The Tank Dell video was hilarious, man. Thank you, Trent. Shout out to me. If you guys didn't know, people kept asking me for a Tank Dell video. I finally put it out, but halfway through, I flipped it and just put on Ether by Nas, and I said FJZ. Ether is one of those great diss tracks from my childhood, and I'm right up there with Hit 'Em Up. I'm cool with it. You got to deal with it. And I just let them all know I'm laughing. I had a great time with it. Shout out to Tank Dell. I'm not surprised he's killing it. That's my guy from the jump. I told everybody, told the world about a lot of players, and they're all hitting in the offseason. Just wait. Thomas Income's going to make the team. Just wait. I hit it all, dude. I don't miss, so I wasn't even worried about it. One guy's like, why don't you just wait till they're confirmed hits before you start victory lapping? I'm like, bro, you live life, and you make your decisions based upon fear and label it with practicality. You feel me? You guys understand what I'm saying? You live your life based upon fear and label it with practicality. I'll give you an example. You don't want to leave your wife because you got to stay to raise the kids. Never mind the fact that she's cheating on you, she hates you, doesn't make dinner, won't clean the house, and every time she walks by, it smells like a seafood market. You stay married to this bitch. Excuse my language. You know why? Because you're afraid to be alone. Because you're afraid no one else will want you. Because you're afraid no one else needs you. You're afraid no one else is attracted to you. You're afraid you can't pay all your bills on your own. So you label it with practicality. You're afraid of all those things. So then you say, well, I'm staying with her because, we got kids together. We just bought a new house. And, we got to stay in it for the kids. We got to raise them. And then they graduate high school. And now you're ready to get a divorce. Same thing with women. I know women that get beat on, cheated on, skeeted on. Like, I know women who are getting disrespected every single day of their life by their man. But they're not going to leave because they can't pay their own bills. They can't pay their own bills. They've been with this man since the beginning of time, blah, blah, blah. They're not leaving. But the reality is they're just afraid to leave. They're afraid of what their family will think. They're afraid of what their church will think, their coworkers, their friends. They're afraid of not being able to get custody of their kids. Dude, I don't live life like this, y'all. I don't live in fear of shit. I make my decisions based upon practicality, and I look at fear and say, what's up? So we're not on the same wavelength, right? Now, have I ever done it before? Yeah, man. I used to re-enlist in the Army all the time. I was in the Army over 20 years. I used to re-enlist in the Army and say, well, I'm re-enlisting in the Army because it's the right thing to do. I'm so close to retirement. I love the job. It's respectful. I like the way I look in uniform. I want to be there for my guys. I want to do this. It's a consistent paycheck. All this shit. It's practical. But it's not true. I re-enlisted in the Army because I was afraid to be unemployed. I was afraid to compete in the private sector. I was afraid I might not be good enough to work for contractors and third-party companies. And maybe the three-letter agencies wouldn't want to hire me. So I was afraid, and I lived in fear of that. So I re-enlisted. But anytime anybody asked me why I re-enlisted, I didn't mention any of that fearful shit. I would just label it with practicality. I'd be like, well, I'm so close. I've been in it over 10 years. Might as well stick it out, man. It's a respectful profession, blah, blah, blah. Oh, I love where I live right now. I just bought a new house. Just got married 5 years ago, blah, 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 blah. Oh, the kids are in high school. I don't want to have to get up and move and all this. That's making decisions based upon fear, but labeling it with practicality. Half the dudes in my chat, you guys can relate. You guys know what I'm talking about. But half the dudes in my chat come at me like this all the time, and I'm like, you scared. You guys are scary, bro. You guys are scary. My guy, Rico, hope you're having a great day. Thank you, Corey Flores. I am. Do you believe in the Texas Tech hype? I do. I have them in my top 25. Thank you for the tip, Corey. You make my life possible, bro. That's how I eat my dinner, bro. Thank you so much for the tip. I appreciate you. Finally caught a live stream. Appreciate your content, OG. Thank you, AJ Hayes. Thanks for being here. I'm glad you caught a live stream. Most people don't. Do you think Deneric Prince makes the Chiefs roster? I haven't studied their roster, Christian Smith. Shout out to Deneric Prince. If you guys don't know, Deneric Prince was the starting running back at Tulsa last year, and he ran a faster 40 than Bijan Robinson, and he's bigger than Bijan Robinson. But when you turn on the tape, he doesn't play faster, he doesn't look faster, he doesn't play stronger. His tape doesn't look great, but his metrics are on point. I wonder what he can do with good coaching. Making the Chiefs roster, undrafted free agent, running back. They always make it in the NFL somewhere. At least a good number of them do. Give me a second here. I just got a notification from my cousin, and I need to tell him. What's good. Who's your pick to win the MAC? Let me go back to Deneric Prince. I hope he makes it. Who's your pick to win the MAC? Is EMU a logical one? Not at all, Connor. My pick to win the MAC is Ohio, and my second pick would probably be Toledo. But Ohio, the Bobcats are my number one team. Christian Smith says, yep, totally right. Waiting on Ja'Cour Pearson to get himself on a team somewhere. I believe he's trying out for a team right now. Jay Peasy, I believe he's already trying out for a team, Landon Ballard, last I checked. Pat Schumer is a great offensive mind. He should really help with the passing game and Shador's development into becoming an NFL quarterback. So Chaz Crawford, I don't think he's involved in the development of players. Let me make that very clear. He's not in that role or capacity. He doesn't do anything with players one-on-one. As far as developing the passing game, I believe Sean Lewis has that down pat. So a lot of it might have to do with helping with the offensive line, tight end utilization, something else, but I don't think those two things are going to be directly impacted by Pat Schumer, in my assessment. What up, Lewis? Good to see you. Roll Tide Roll. What game are you streaming week 0? Also, what game are you excited for week 0? AJ, I just decided I will not be streaming any games. Last night I streamed the preseason game with you guys, and I could not focus on the game the way I'm used to because I had to keep looking at chat, answering questions, and I missed a lot of highlights, a lot of statistical data, and players making plays. So I had to go back and rewatch it after I got offline with you guys. I will not be live streaming games. I'm going to be on Twitter during the games. Okay? That's what my plan is. I'll be on Twitter. Let me put it in the chat here. My Twitter is right here. Let's do this. My Twitter is Rico Knows TikTok. Boom. And breaking news. All right, so now it's down here. There's my Twitter. You guys can add me, follow my tweets. I'm going to be tweeting throughout all the games, but I won't be on live stream on Saturdays. Apologize. I'm convinced what game I'm most excited about for week 0. I believe I already told you guys I was excited about San Diego State versus Ohio. I'm really excited about Ohio. I'm convinced Brian Ferentz was betting unders on his own games. No, he wasn't, but his players were. Who's the best high school player in the country class of 2024? I don't know. I really like Nate Frazier, running back at Mater Dei, but I also like a ton of Georgia kids. Sammy Brown's great. So there's guys out there. I'm getting ready for this Sean Clifford masterclass tonight. Yes, we all are. What would you say would be the biggest shock prediction for this season that nobody will predict? Well, that's just wild, AJ. That's just you want me to say something wild and crazy? Braylon Allen's winning the Heisman. There. Braylon Allen's winning the Heisman. That's what I'll go with. What was your favorite March Madness run by an individual team? Connor, I called the FAU run. I hope you didn't miss the videos. I said FAU was going to go on a run, and they made it all the way to the Final Four. Conference USA. Did you see Marshall from UT Chattanooga and sign an undrafted free agent with the Bengals, put on IR? That was my guy, Devontae Marshall. I made a video about him and everything. Sucks. Well, he gets his whole paycheck. When you get an IR, you get paid. But the fact that you don't make the IR, so when you get put on the IR before you make the Final 53, you can't get off of it and join the team. If you didn't make the Final 53, you're on IR the whole year. Just something for you guys to know. It sucks. Thanks for letting me know, though. I got to make a video on it. That sucks. Maine. They're playing Maine, bruh. That's bananas. Millie, Tyrese Gibson is tripping. Exactly. Hit the like button. Please hit the like button before you guys go. Who are some of your top wide receiver and running back prospects in this incoming freshman class? There's so many. There's just so many. But I don't think a lot of them are playing, Arvin. That's the reality of the situation. Incoming freshmen don't play much. So, yeah, you can say Andy Jean's going to play at Florida, but there's a lot more prospects out there that aren't playing, and they won't play because freshmen don't matter. Your seniors and juniors matter. Your recruiting class isn't a big deal. Saw the Osama Singa news. Sorry, I may have missed it. Yeah, I've made a couple videos on it. I'll just say this. Osama Singa is a cheater. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care how they justify it. They say his coach gave it to him. He didn't know. It was an accident. He's a kid. None of that matters. You are tainted. You cheated to get to the top of the mountain. You're done. I don't play with that shit. So, you're a cheater. Do you think Caleb Williams realistically has a shot to win another Heisman? Also, could you give me your top 5 contenders? So, yeah, I think he has a shot to win the Heisman. He's just got to go undefeated and win the national title. Caleb Williams has a shot. I like Braylon Allen. If he can carry Wisconsin to an 11-1 record, it'll be because of him. I like – who do I like? Give me Bo Nix. Who's the kid at Washington? Frank Harris. Cade Klubnik. I mean, it's just any starting quarterback on a Power 5 team that's going to go undefeated. That's who I like. That's who wins it. A starting quarterback on a Power 5 team going undefeated. That's the criteria. How many games do you think the Buffs will win this season? Go to my TikToks. Go to my YouTube. Watch my Colorado playlist. I have an entire playlist called Colorado. Watch them. Watch all the videos. That'll answer all your questions. Sunbelt Billy named Mertz the starter. No shit, Try Glasson. There's nobody else on that team that can play quarterback. That was going to happen, and he sucks. Will you ever make another Ben Bryant type video? All the lemmings in the comment section were hilarious. Just curious. I do it all the time. I do it maybe once in a blue moon. It's not fun for me, Connor. It's fun. It's funny, but it's not fun to just wake up to so many comments of hate from the ignorant people. I can't stand it. The people who fall for it all the time. Like, I just made a video about an 800-meter runner. The video was about the kid, okay? Gunnar Hammett is the kid I made the video on. He's an 11-year-old national champion, national record holder in the 800 meters. But before I show you the race and I talk about the video, I just put a random picture of Ocho Cinco's daughter. Just put a random picture of her. And she's signed to Kentucky. She's 18 years old. I put a picture of her when she was 14. And I said, oh, look, we got a new 14-year-old running. It's my intentional error. And all these guys are up in arms about, oh, my God, you don't even know nothing. This is so old. Da-da-da-da. I had one guy telling me, Rico, 408, 208 is a slow time. What are you talking about? 208 is not elite. The average college time is 155. I'm like, bro, did you think that was a boy in that picture? Like, why are you telling me the male times in college? These people don't know what they're talking about. They just see red and just start typing and writing. And all of these messages. I get 10,000 messages a week. They all go to my phone. I gotta sift through the shit. I don't like the shit. So, yeah. Sha'Carri has toned her bad behavior down as of late, so someone talked to her. No, Basement, it's not true. She just got in a fight and wants to scrap with Gabby Thomas at practice. So how much has she toned down? She ain't toned down shit. I'm telling you. You can't hide your stripes. Tigers can't hide their stripes. Can't. Top, if you could take one man or woman from all you've ever led in the Army and move them to a Division I roster tomorrow, anyone, who and why? P.S. Hi, Kim. If I could take one man or woman from all you've ever led in the Army and move them to a Division I roster tomorrow, and who and so I've always been the best athlete I've known in the Army. I've always been the best athlete in all my units. I wouldn't pick anyone over me, period. So it would have just been me at a younger age. Every unit I was in, I was the top PT scorer. Anytime we played football, I was the number one guy. It didn't matter what sport we played. So that's easy. I've always been the best. That's not up for debate. And my soldiers follow me. There's people in here that I've led in the Army. My soldiers watch the videos. There's no one going to come in here and go, Rico's lying. Like, nobody's going to do that. I've been a monster my whole life. I agree with you 100%. Thank you, Basement. Cool. What's up, Rico? Blessings, bro. What up, Jared? Ain't seen you in a minute. Good to see you, brother. Do you think Cormani McLean will improve enough to start at the TC game? No. Basement, I don't like freshmen starting. I don't care if you're a 5-star or not. You should just be on the bench. You're added depth. Go develop, get stronger, get faster, whatever. You're not better than the guys we got in our program. We got adults in front of you. Jared, thank you for the tip, bro. Thank you guys so much. You guys make it possible with the tips, man. It's really awesome. Weibel Caleb could walk on water if he wanted to. He's the best talent I've ever coached against, and he started as a freshman in one of the hardest high school leagues in the USA. Okay. Will Colorado already be a top 5 team this year in the Pac-12? The only other teams I see better are USC, Utah, Washington, Oregon, and maybe UCLA. So USC, Utah, Washington, Oregon State are the cream of the crop. I think Colorado and UCLA are very comparable, but no, they're fighting for 6th or 7th in the conference, as far as I know. Rico, do you think Pat Shurmur is the built-in replacement for Sean Lewis after he leaves, or is Prime just bringing him in because he's a bright offensive mind to have around? Yeah, so no, Matt, I think the built-in replacement is the wide receivers coach, Bartolo, or whatever his name is. That kid has been a wide receivers coach before. He was the offense coordinator at Jackson State. There's a couple of theories I have. It's either Sean Lewis becomes the head coach of Colorado after Coach Prime leaves, or you have replacements on staff to replace Sean Lewis after he leaves. Those are my two theories. Why do you like Braylon Allen? I like him, but he isn't crazy fast. IMO. Super Colt. Yeah, he's 6'3", 235. 6'3", 235. It's not about his speed. He skipped his senior year of high school. He started playing at 17 years old in college. He's 19 right now in his 3rd year in college. Some of these kids graduating high school, going to the teams right now, they reclassed. They're 19. He's 19 with 3 years in college, and he's rushed for over 1,200 yards his first 2 years. 1,200 yards with a quarterback like Graham Mertz, who's so terrible that they can stack the box because they don't have to respect his arm. They don't have to respect what he does. So he's running this against 8 and 9 guys in the box. Braylon Allen is an absolute monster. He is the second best running back in the country. Braylon Allen is a specimen. NFL all day. Who's the best offensive line coach in your opinion? I don't know all of them, Austin Tyler. I'll tell you that I have a lot of respect for Brent Key, the head coach at Georgia Tech, former offensive line coach at Alabama. So I like Brent Key even though he's a head coach. Rico, if Kim Jones and Kim Jones, the sports reporter, I don't know Kim Jones, the sports reporter, debated you, who would beat you? Kim Jones, my significant other, would never debate me in anything. We support one another. There's no debate there. Your lady about around the house and personal life stuff, or the reporter about sports. I wouldn't lose a debate about sports to anyone. I don't like debating sports at all, but I wouldn't lose to anyone. One guy wrote to me today, and he was like, you ain't the only one who knows football. I know football, too. I could talk circles around, or I could keep up with you. I know everything about football. That's what he wrote to me. He wrote this to me, And I just thought to myself, like, well, what did you do today, bro? Like, what did you do today? Did you train for this? Because I've been training every day. I don't know what you did in preparation for our conversation, but I know it's not what I did. Like today, come on. It's a joke. Yo, Rico, who you watching tonight? Whoever's on. Whoever's on. Does your dog enjoy watching college football with you? Yeah, you guys want to see her? Check this out. Check this out. I don't want to move too much because it'll startle her. There she is. Okay? Shout out to Ash. She's on her blanket. She's always next to me. You guys ain't ready for me. And she barked because she don't like you guys waking her up. Yeah, she enjoys college football. She enjoys everything I do. Do you think Sha'Carri Richardson will win at the World Championships? Not necessarily detail. I hope she does, but I don't think she will. I love asking Rico off the wall questions. Thank you very much. I will never debate him. I know better. Thank you very much, Kim. Shout out to you, beautiful. Grindhouse or Raising Cane's? Grindhouse. I've never had Raising Cane's, but Grindhouse is better than anywhere else I've ever had to eat. I love Grindhouse. After watching it for a while, I've realized guys like Colin Cowherd don't watch football. Super Colt. That is 100% true. They don't watch football. They don't know anything about it. They just go to meetings and have producers feed them nonsense to talk about on TV. They were once upon a time sports journalists, writers, whatever they were. But nowadays, they don't watch football. They'll read Twitter. They'll get briefed before they go on TV, and they'll know about a topic, wave tops. They don't deep dive anything. They just stay on the surface. They don't know enough about the sport. When you come across someone like me, watch every game, know every player on every team, it's a whole different animal. They don't want to have that conversation with me. They don't want to talk. They'll say stuff like, I don't know how many players are on the team. I don't know what's going on. There's a lot of movement going on. I was reading somewhere that, it's looking really high elevation. Just dumb shit. Nothing, they bring nothing to the conversation. Nothing. It doesn't move me at all. I just watched a guy today. He had a list of top 50 running backs in the country. On Twitter, he wrote top 50 running backs in the country. And this is a guy with like 400,000 followers or something. I was like, what? I read it. It was insane. He was missing all kinds of people. And I let him know. I put out a whole list of people on my Twitter. I started listing off people. And I said, guys like you, putting out lists like this, enable me to do this for a living. I get to do this for a living because of people like you. You don't know what the hell you're doing. He don't reply to me. They're all substandard. They're all inferior. Where did you meet someone as supportive as Kim? I met her on TikTok. I met Kim on TikTok. Real talk. She's always next to you until Mama Kim comes to visit. That's true. Kim sits here, though. Sha'Carri only wins if she's focused, and that's like a 3% chance. I don't know where you're getting these percentages, but shout out to you for that. Yeah. Where did I meet someone as supportive as Kim? Yeah, Connor, I met her on TikTok. Met her last year, I think October. So we're going to come up on a year now. And hopefully by this upcoming October, Kim should be living here. So then we won't have to do this long distance thing where we go on vacation every month. She can just be here to take care of Ash and everything else. Hey, guys, thanks for hanging out with us tonight. Sorry for talking about some personal stuff. Thanks for choosing us because we choose you. I just want to remind everybody that preseason game is on tonight. I won't be live streaming it, but I will be tweeting here and there while I'm watching it. Keep an eye for some of the players I've told you guys about. It's fun hitting on all my predictions, but I've been hitting on my predictions for 40 years now, so I'm not ever surprised. Thanks for being here, y'all.
I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean, no longer a fan. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you. I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean, no longer a fan. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you.
I do this for the kids who sit a bit outside the mix, who maybe cope through humor just to fit in for a bit, who never let the world know when depression's setting in. To To all of those who know you, that impression don't exist. And it ain't counterfeit, it's just a way to counter it. I'm living things I dreamed about, I still encounter it. It ain't something that a cigarette or alcohol can fix, but all because of it, I flipped it quick when I